most photographed woman in the world was found dead, alone, face down in her bed, clutching a telephone. The official verdict said accidental overdose, but the phone records were wiped. The timeline contradicted itself. The housekeeper changed her story 3 times, and 2 of the most powerful men in America had been in contact with her that same day. On August 4th, 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her home in Brentwood, California. She was 36 years old. What happened in that bedroom has never been fully explained. Not officially, not truthfully. This is the cold case that has outlasted everyone who was there. Her real name was Norma Jean Mortensen. Born in Los Angeles in 1926, she spent her childhood moving between foster homes and relatives. Her mother institutionalized, her father unknown. By the time she became Marilyn Monroe, she had already survived a childhood that would have broken most people. She became the biggest star in the world. Some like it hot. Gentlemen prefer blondes. Bus stop. But the persona Hollywood built for her, the blonde, the bombshell, the dizzy beauty, masked a woman of considerable intelligence, sensitivity, and quiet torment. By 1962, Marilyn Monroe was at war with herself. Her marriage to Arthur Miller had ended. Her relationships with both John and Robert Kennedy were an open secret in Hollywood circles. She had been fired from her last film. She was struggling with dependency on barbiturates and sleeping medication. And she was talking to people who were listening and to people who were not. August 4th, 1962 was a Saturday. Multiple witnesses and sources would later confirm that Robert Kennedy, the United States Attorney General, was in Los Angeles that day. There is significant evidence that he visited her Brentwood home. What was discussed in that conversation has never been officially confirmed. Her psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson, visited her that afternoon and stayed for several hours, an unusual length of time for a social call. She spoke to friends by telephone. She sounded distressed to some, calm to others. People who knew her would disagree for decades about her state of mind on that final day. Her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, was staying at the house. Sometime after midnight, the exact time is disputed, Eunice Murray noticed a light under Marilyn's bedroom door. She called Dr. Greenson. He arrived and broke a window to enter the locked room. Marilyn Monroe was dead. The telephone was in her hand. The official cause of death was listed as probable suicide by acute barbiturate poisoning. But from the beginning, the investigation was riddled with inconsistencies that have never been satisfactorily explained. The call to police was delayed. Depending on which version of events you believe, there was a gap of anywhere from 3 to 5 hours between the discovery of her body and the report to the LAPD. What happened in those hours is unknown. The amount of barbiturates found in her system was, according to some toxicologists, far in excess of what she could have swallowed in tablet form without the pills being found. The stomach contents at autopsy showed almost none. This discrepancy has never been explained by the official account. Eunice Murray, the housekeeper, gave at least 3 different accounts of that evening over the course of her lifetime. Shortly before her own death, she reportedly acknowledged that Robert Kennedy had indeed visited that day, something she had previously denied. Asked why she had lied, she said simply, "It was time to let the truth be known." She said nothing more on the record. Phone records from that evening, records that could have confirmed or denied contact between Marilyn and the Kennedys, were reported missing. The file maintained on Monroe by the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover, which tracked her movements and associations, ran to hundreds of pages. Significant portions remain classified or redacted to this day. There are four main theories about what happened to Marilyn Monroe. The first is the official verdict: accidental overdose or suicide by a troubled woman at a low point in her life. Proponents of this view point to her documented history of depression and her previous overdoses as context. The second theory involves the Kennedys directly. According to this account, Marilyn Monroe had become a liability. She knew too much about both men, had spoken of making their relationships public, and in a political climate of extreme Cold War sensitivity, was considered a security risk. Whether this led to deliberate action or simply to a catastrophic abandonment at the moment she needed help most is debated. The third theory involves organized crime. Sam Giancana and the Chicago mob had deep ties to both the Kennedys and to the Hollywood world Monroe inhabited. Some investigators have suggested mob involvement in her death as a means of political leverage. The fourth, and perhaps darkest theory, is the simplest: that whatever the true cause of death, the cover-up itself is the crime, and that the LAPD, the coroner's office, and federal agencies actively suppress evidence to protect powerful people. No theory has ever been definitively proven. No person has ever been charged. Norma Jean Mortensen was born into a world that didn't know what to do with her. She became Marilyn Monroe, and the world still didn't know what to do with her. She was brilliant, fragile, funny, perceptive, and genuinely talented, and the system that made her famous treated her as a product and discarded her when she became complicated. Whatever happened on the night of August 4th, 1962, whether she chose to leave this world, or whether that choice was made for her, or whether the truth is something darker still, the one certainty is this: she deserved better, in life and in death. The case has never been officially reopened. The witnesses are mostly dead. The files remain sealed. But 60 years later, we are still asking the same question. And the fact that no one in power has ever given a satisfying answer is, perhaps, the most revealing thing of all.